Parambikulam Tiger Reserve has always been on my list, and the day I got a chance to go there with my father, Colonel Dikoto, our neighbor Mr. Shaji, our boy Mr. Viru, and myself, I grabbed it with both hands. We made a very early start from our home in Bison Valley, Munnar. So we started at around 4:40 a.m. Given the kind of roads that we were going to face, our car of choice was the Mahindra Thar, which has proved very dependable in the past. We took the Gap Road route from Bison Valley to Munnar. This was a short, beautiful, but dangerous route. We got to Munnar in about half an hour to 45 minutes. From there on, we took the road to Marayur via Wagvarai Tea Estate. We then reached Marayur, where we stopped for a short breakfast. After a hearty breakfast, hot idlis, we moved on towards Chinar Wildlife Sanctuary. We met some wildlife on the way and we're happy to take photographs. Word of caution, the road is narrow and there's a sheer cliff on one side, so please drive carefully. After Chinar, we hit Kurchikotai, and from Kurchikotai we moved left towards Animalai, where we intended to stay for the night. On the way, we saw a lot of coconut groves. I haven't seen so many coconut trees together in my life. Before checking into our stay at Animalai, we decided to take a detour to Valparai. On the way, we saw the beautiful Aliyar Dam, and we stopped here for some photographs. You come across about 40 hairpin bends on the way to Valparai, and it's extremely scenic here, and you'd be surprised by some of the wildlife that you come across. We soon came across a pack of lion-tailed macaques, which I understand is on the endangered species list. It looked so beautiful yet so ferocious. I didn't know whether to stand and look at it or run away. We also got to see some beautiful Samba deer and Indian bison or gaur in the tea estates here. The rest of day one was uneventful, and after a quick lunch, we checked into our accommodation and retired for the day. Day 2 also required us to make an early start, as we needed to get to the Parambikulam Tiger Reserve gate as soon as possible and be one of the first cars in line. So we picked up an early breakfast, went to a nearby store to pick up some provisions, as we would be staying the night. We had made our booking in Vitikuna Island, which is in the middle of the sanctuary, and it takes about an hour by boat to get there. Visuals of this trip to Vitikuna Island are available later in this video. We soon reached the Sethumadai checkpost, which is on the Tamil Nadu side of the border. Please be careful. Do not carry a drone or liquor here. The checking is strict, and in fact my drone was confiscated, and I got it only on the way back out the next day. A short drive from Sethumadai to Parambikulam, and you reach the Kerala side of the sanctuary, and after a quick check of your ticket, they let you through, and you enter some really nice areas where chances of spotting wildlife are quite high. We reached the main reception area in Parambikulam, and here we were joined by Mr. Murugan, who would be our guide and forest guard for the rest of the duration of our stay here. We still had some time to board our boat, so we made a visit to some of the dam sites here. They're quite scenic, but if you don't have the time, you can give it a miss. But what you should not miss is the next thing, which is the Kanimara teak tree, which is supposedly one of the oldest and largest teak trees in this region. It's about 460 years old, and while we were here, we heard a loud trumpet, and we're very lucky to see a wild tusker. Our friend Viru has built up quite a reputation of being a wildlife spotter, and he managed to see this crocodile, which all of us had missed. We soon reached the highlight of our trip and reached the boarding point for the fiberglass boat. And again, let me remind you, this is a rowing boat because the dam has drinking water, and they do not wish to pollute it using an outboard engine. We were joined here by 5 other forest guards who also doubled up as oarsmen for the boat and chefs at night on the island. It was quite a balancing act to get into the boat, and as some of us are not that light anymore, it was quite dicey at first. But we soon found our balance, and it really surprises me how fit these men are and how long they could row this boat against the current. And they actually had to take a sort of semicircular path because the winds would not allow them to row this boat straight to the island. So it is quite an effort, and yeah, I would not be able to do it personally. As you can see, Mr. Shaji and Dad quite enjoyed the boat ride, so did Bidu and myself. It was quite an experience with the wind blowing in your hair, and yeah, it seemed quite surreal and out of this world. Most of the remainder of the journey was completed in silence, and all of us seemed to be in a meditative state, and we just enjoyed the sights and sounds around us.
Todos los días sueño contigo, quiero estar a tu lado. Todos los días me siento solo, quiero estar contigo. Cariño, 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 quiero estar a tu lado, quiero estar contigo. Cariño, 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 quiero estar a tu lado, quiero estar contigo.
An hour later, we were at the island, and the forest guards were on the lookout for wildlife. They showed us videos of elephants and large crocodiles that had made this island their home in the past.
A tu lado, todos los días me siento solo, quiero estar contigo.
Once we are dropped off at the island and our things taken out of the boat is tied some distance away from the shore because elephants have come and destroyed the boat in the past. From here starts a short but steep climb to the place where we would be staying tonight. That did find it a little difficult, but given the fact that he's an army man at heart, he was up in front and leading the climb. We soon reached the top and had to cross this little wooden bridge across a moat that was created to prevent elephants from crossing. The accommodation here is pretty basic, and don't expect anything fancy here. After some rest and a hot cup of tea, we went for a trek on the island and got to see a lot of wildlife.
A tu lado, todos los días me siento solo, quiero estar contigo. Cariño, cariño, cariño.
The combination of the setting sun, the water, the islands made for some really beautiful photographs.
Cuesta a tu lado, cuesta contigo.
We had a simple dinner and retired to bed that night as all of us were quite tired and we had to get up early the next morning. It was quite dark when we made the trip down back to the boat and we boarded the boat in the dark. The moon was still up when we started the journey back, and it got brighter as the journey went on and we got closer back to the mainland.
A tu lado,
The return journey by boat was much shorter
me
and we reached in about 45 minutes.
quiero estar contigo.
A few quick photographs and we were back into the jeep and on our way back to exit the park. On the way we saw this beautiful peacock and its dance was just mesmerizing.
Cuesta a tu lado, cuesta contigo.
Our next stop was Kandalur and we took the same route back through Chinar and Marayur, and the scenery was as beautiful as we came in. When you're really thirsty, there's nothing as good as tender coconut, and this is something we relied on all through our journey.
Todos los días sueño contigo. Quiero estar a tu lado. Todos los días.
We reached Kandalur without much incident, and the next place where we were to stay, the Windy Ridge homestay, had quite an access. It was an off-road path, and it took a lot of patience and grit to get down that path with the jeep. I won't be naming them, but a couple of people in our jeep had turned rather white by the time we got to the end of the path. We reached this beautiful homestay, which was surrounded by electrical fences because apparently elephants do visit here and can be quite a nuisance if they get through. I'll let the photos speak for the beauty of this place, which is owned and run by Mr. Manoj, who was previously a software engineer but has now left that to follow his passion in hospitality.
Sueño contigo. Quiero estar a tu lado. Todos los días me siento solo.
Thar took quite a beating on the way up, and by the time we had reached the top again, one of my wheels had given way and we had to look for a garage.
A tu lado, cuesta contigo. Querido, querido, querido. Cuesta a tu lado, cuesta contigo. A contigo. Querido, querido, querido. Cuesta a tu lado, cuesta contigo. Querido, querido, querido. Cuesta a tu lado, cuesta contigo.
Thankfully, we found some really competent mechanics who could fix the wheel in very short time, and we were back on our way again. We made it back in quick time and came to our favorite Maggie and omelette shop near Gap Road. After a quick lunch, we headed back home, which was not far away. We reached Nutmeg, which is our home in Bison Valley, on the afternoon of the fourth day, having covered some of the most beautiful regions in the Western Ghats in South India. I hope to see you all with my next video. In the meantime, let me leave you with a clip that I had shot on the phone of the guard because there was no network and he couldn't transfer it. If you look carefully, you can spot the elephant climb out of the water onto the island that we had just come from. I hope to see you all again with my next video. Till then, take care and stay safe.